Okay, have you ever been watching a movie and either you or your friend has to say something every few minutes about what happened in the source material? You either are that guy or you hate that guy. Hey there YouTube, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. It is I, Nadia the Nerdy, and today we are going to be doing what every nerd does during their favorite movie. That's right, we are going to be diving into the rabbit hole of, but that's not what happened in the book, with the Harry Potter movies. And we're going to be taking it movie by movie, starting off, of course, with Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. In my opinion, the most accurate book to movie out of the whole series, but there are still things that are different. So this is basically Harry Potter according to the books. Schmells out! And obviously this will contain spoilers if you didn't read the books or see the movies, or if you saw the movies and didn't read the books, this will be news to you. So I'm super excited because as a nerd, this is truly one of my favorite things to do. Specifically with the Harry Potter movies, it's really hard for me to watch those movies without me wanting to be like, well, actually, in the book, let's be honest, like, I really do be that guy. You're watching Harry Potter with your, like, nerd friend and they're like, wanting to give you, like, some weird trivia. That is me. And I've just been waiting for this moment so I could just get into details that people usually don't want to hear when they're watching a movie and trying to enjoy it, which, like, fair, but I also want you to know that's not what happened in the books. Don't forget to get some water, get a snack, get your book out, maybe binge watch Harry Potter, and then come back. Let's get started. All right, so in the book, it actually doesn't just open with Dumbledore at Privet Drive. It opens with a little glimpse into Vernon Dursley's life, and he gets up and he goes to work. He's trying to lead his extremely muggle life, but he keeps getting interrupted by all of the wizarding nonsense that is going on. But Mr. Dursley is just thinking about drills. Wow. And as he's going to work, he sees all of these wizards wearing wizarding clothes, and he's like, oh, I don't know what's up with young people these days, but then it's like old people actually, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? He's seeing owls on the news where there's just owls out in broad daylight. Somebody actually comes up to him and shakes his hand, and he is like baffled by this. Mr. Dursley also sees McGonagall as a cat watching his house all day. He actually specifically thinks to himself that cat was reading the sign, but then because he's a muggle, he's like, no, that cat was just looking at the sign. There is nothing out of the ordinary at all. So all of this is happening and he has no idea what's coming, basically. It also has to be mentioned that Harry explicitly has green eyes. In fact, he actually does have his mother's eyes. In the book, not in the movie. It's just so funny because they always say, oh, you have your mother's eyes. They keep that, but Harry's got blue eyes and his mom has these brown eyes. They should have given Daniel Radcliffe green contact lenses. Come on. Or at least given the mother blue contact lenses. But the thing is that it's very specific that Harry has green eyes and they're just like his mother's.
Except your eye. You have my mother's eyes.
The eyes, of course. You have your mother's eyes, yeah.
You have your mother's eyes.
He has her eyes.
Not by your scar, by your eyes. They're your mother, Lily's.
Who's that?
It's my mother.
You have her eyes.
But anyway, so it opens on Dudley's birthday, and originally Harry was going to go and spend the day with Mrs. Fig, who we know better from the 5th book and movie, but Mrs. Fig ends up breaking her leg, and that's why Harry actually goes to the zoo with them, because they weren't going to bring Harry to the zoo. Why would they bring Harry? They hate him. It's Dudley's birthday. Dudley doesn't want him there, but she broke her leg, so he can't go hang out with her. So they have to take him to the zoo. Great day for Harry. But also, Dudley's friend, Pierce Polkus, goes to the zoo with them. And it's actually Pierce who notices Harry was talking to the snake. Pierce and Dudley run over and the snake escapes, and basically they just like get freaked out. They're telling everybody like, oh my god, the snake tried to kill me. But they make it much more dramatic in the movie, which makes sense because it's like, you know, cinematic value, I guess. Then they leave. No one knows exactly what happened until Pierce, the little snitch, tells the Dursleys that Harry was talking to the snake before the snake got out. And of course, instantly, Vernon is like, no. So then Harry starts getting his letters. The Dursleys are so freaked out about this letter. And the fact that it says cupboard under the stairs. They're like, oh my gosh, they know where he lives. Like, we need to move him. So you know how in the second movie, they put him in Dudley's second bedroom? Well, in the book, they actually move him into the second bedroom right after the first letter happens because they think like, oh, maybe they're just messing with us. We don't want people to know we're like, you know, abusing him by forcing him to live in a cupboard, so we'll move him upstairs. But of course, the letters keep coming, and it's much more chaotic in the books. So in the movie, we see the scene where Vernon is nailing up the mailbox, but in the book, he nails up the mailbox and then sleeps on the floor in front of the door, and Harry is trying to sneak out to try to get the mail right when it comes, and Harry ends up stepping on him. After the house gets filled with all the letters, Vernon's like, we're getting out of here. They won't be able to find us. So he drives all over the place, and they go to like a few hotels, and the letters come to the rooms addressed exactly to the pinpoint location of where Harry is. Vernon is obviously not having it.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
So that's why Vernon ends up finding this island, because all of his other attempts to avoid the letters were not working. Meanwhile, Dudley is very upset because he is missing his television shows, and he's never had to miss a television show. So he's not handling it well. So then they're at the island, but Hagrid doesn't mistake Dudley for Harry. He recognizes Harry immediately, and he says, "You'll look a lot like your dad, but you have your mom's eyes."
Bruh.
The green eyes. He would never mistake Dudley for Harry. It's just so obvious. He doesn't even need to meet Harry to know.
Well, duh.
They go to Diagon Alley and they're in the Leaky Cauldron. Harry meets Daedalus Diggle, and that is the same wizard who shook his hand the one time.
Diggle is the name. Daedalus Diggle.
I remember you. You bowed to me once in a shop.
He remembers. Did you hear that? He remembers me.
Harry's been getting like signs, and there's been little bits leaked through, but so much more in the book than in the movie. They don't really show any of that sort of stuff in the movie. But one of the biggest changes so far is that Harry actually meets Draco in Madame Malkin's robe shop and immediately doesn't like him.
Cause I don't care.
Yeah, immediately no. Immediately no. Immediately no. Like instantly, I was like, yeah, no. That was my thought.
Draco is the first person to tell him about Quidditch, and he's the one who first mentions the Hogwarts houses. Harry's getting this fitting, and Draco's in there, and he's just like being his snobby little self, like, oh, I would die if I wasn't in Slytherin. It's obviously the best house, and stuff like that.
Okay.
That leads Harry to ask Hagrid more about Hogwarts and about the wizarding world. And then Harry actually goes with Hagrid to pick out Hagrid.
What?
Yes. Harry goes with Hagrid to pick out Hedwig. Hagrid doesn't surprise him with that. He does surprise him with ice cream though, so.
That's pretty neat.
So in the movies, Hagrid picks Harry up, and then from Diagon Alley, Harry gets on the train. But it actually doesn't happen that way. Hagrid brings Harry back, and Harry has to spend a few more weeks with the Dursleys. And funny enough, Dudley still has his little pigtail when Harry goes to school. So Hagrid definitely did some damage there. Since Hagrid's not the one to take him to the train, it's actually the Dursleys. And Vernon's such a little freaking ass where he walks Harry onto the platform specifically just to gloat about the fact that there wasn't a 9 3/4, and then he leaves him there. You think that the Dursleys are abusive in the movie, but then you read the book and you're just like,
Man,
They were crazy. It's amazing Harry had any sort of ability to function after growing up with them. And then they get on the train, Harry's hanging out with Ron, and when Harry gets the chocolate frog card of Dumbledore, he reads the info, which is very important to the story. The confrontation that happens with Malfoy, it doesn't happen in the school, it happens on the train. So Malfoy finds Harry and they have that whole exchange. And Harry, of course, recognizes him from the shop and he's like, yeah, I don't like you. I still don't like you. And then they get to school. And this is probably one of the biggest changes, and it is Peeves. He is first mentioned by Nearly Headless Nick talking to the Fat Friar about Peeves and how he's just always causing havoc. They get to the sorting, and the Sorting Hat sings a Sorting Hat song every year, and it's always different. It's another like quirky detail that I love in the books that they just cut out. But the thing about the Sorting Hat is, as it goes on, the song is almost prophetic, and it has a lot of meaning to it that you don't always get at the beginning, but you can infer more at the end. So it plays like a much more important role other than just sorting the kids. And everyone in the hall sings the Hogwarts song after Dumbledore gives his little speech, and they all sing it differently with different tunes. Anyway, they finally run into Peeves on the way to the Gryffindor common room, and Percy says the Bloody Baron is the only one who can control him, and Peeves also drops walking sticks on Neville's head. So he's like just around causing havoc the whole time. But it's important about the Bloody Baron being the only one who can control Peeves because it comes into play later on. So even though Peeves is always messing with students on the way to class, it's still widely known that Filch is worse than Peeves, and people would rather run into Peeves than Filch any day. The castle is way more magical in the books overall. You get doors that only open when you tickle them, just random stuff. They also completely cut out the class history of magic, which is taught by Professor Binns, who's a ghost. And it actually plays a decent role because they do a lot of their talking in his class because he's a ghost and it's very boring and he doesn't stop. He just talks, he just keeps going, says the thing monotoned for however long the class is, and that's it. So they're able to like do their little conspiring, all their secrets. They do learn a few things as well. So then they go to flying class. That goes pretty similar, except for Neville doesn't get caught on a pole and then fall. That whole thing of Neville's broom going absolutely bonkers is totally just for like movie hype. I don't know, movie plot points, because he just basically like rises off into the air and then falls off his broom. That's it. So maybe this is one of the instances where it's less in the book. Of course, he drops his Remember All. Draco picks it up, but Patil is actually the one who tells Draco first to knock it off. See, there's other characters that actually play roles. It's not just Harry, Ron, and Hermione all the time. But anyway, then they do their whole chase, blah, 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 blah. Harry catches the Remember All, Miss McGonagall sees, gets Harry, brings him to Wood. This is one of my favorite parts of the book that you do not get in the movies, and it is Wood and his character, because he has just like way more personality. He is absolutely obsessed. When I tell you this man is obsessed with Quidditch, that would be an understatement. It's like this kid literally eats, breathes, and sleeps Quidditch. That's it.
Because in the movies, he was like, this match has been cancelled. They can't cancel Quidditch. I mean, I guess it's not that big of a deal. But in the books, if you see your teammate fall off their broom, leave that! Their life is over! The game, however, is still going. Never back down, never what?
It's 3 a.m., Oliver.
I'm just upset. I can't believe it.
I know, Harry almost died.
Oh no, I was talking about losing the match. Oh.
Yeah, so Draco challenges Harry to a duel at midnight. After the flying class, Hermione overhears Harry and Draco, stays up to wait for Harry and Ron, and follows them out. The fat lady leaves her portrait, and that's why she ends up going with them, because she can't get back in. But then Neville also ends up coming with them. He was locked out of the common room because he couldn't remember the password, which is also a reoccurring theme. The duel was basically a setup by Draco. He's trying to get them into trouble,
Well,
and
duh.
that's why they end up running into Filch. And then Peeves shows up and makes a bunch of noise. Students out of bed, students in the corridor. That's what he yells continuously.
Naughty, naughty, you'll get caughty.
And that's why they end up running, unbeknownst to them, to the third corridor, and they end up seeing Fluffy for the first time. So Neville is actually there. Neville actually plays a much larger role in the books in general, like all of the books, but also this one specifically. Then obviously we know Harry makes the Quidditch team, and Professor McGonagall sends Harry his first broom. But he doesn't open the broom in the dining hall like a freaking dumbass, and he also knows who sends him the broom. She sends him a note and she says like it's from her, so it's not like some guessing work where he's like, oh, it must be McGonagall, she's looking at me. Like, no, he knows it's from her.
Bruh.
It's a broomstick. What an idiot.
And so Ron and Harry try to take the broom up to the common room so they can open it, but Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle stop them and find out that it's a broom. Of course, Malfoy tries to get him in trouble by telling Professor Flitwick that he has a broom when he shouldn't because he's a first year or whatever, but then Flitwick just congratulates Harry for making the Quidditch team, so of course Malfoy is like, what the fuck? Then it's Halloween. There's the whole troll in the dungeon thing. While they're going to find Hermione, they see Professor Snape going towards the third floor corridor, and that's where they first get it into their brains. Maybe he's the one. They see the troll, and the troll goes into the bathroom, and they run up and they lock it in, but they didn't know that that was the girls' bathroom where Hermione was, so they accidentally almost killed Hermione by locking her in the bathroom with the troll. The next day, they're reading in the courtyard and they see Snape and he's limping, and he comes and takes Harry's book and then takes 5 points from Gryffindor just like because he's a dick, I guess. Harry goes down to the dungeons to ask him for his book back and sees Snape and Filch. Filch is bandaging Snape's leg and they're talking about Fluffy. Then Snape sees Harry and tells him to leave. So there's a lot more instances where Harry sees Snape acting suspiciously but doesn't fully understand the context. Then it's time for Harry's first Quidditch match. Lee Jordan is the announcer like he is in the movies, but Lee Jordan again has like 1000% more personality, and it's really great listening to him announce the game because he is just so insanely biased towards Gryffindor over Slytherin.
I didn't hear nothing. That's suspicious. That's weird. And you want to know what else is funny?
Hey, it's future me popping in here because this video ended up getting a little bit long, so I decided to cut it into 2 parts. What do you think of this book to movie so far? Let me know your thoughts in the comments on all the changes we've talked about, and be sure to come back for my video next week so we can finish the conversation. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the little notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Stay nerdy, my friends, and I will see you next time. Bye!